What I'd like to do in the next three tutorials is show you a technique that I learned from a book called Black and White Printing. It's a digital masters series, and it's written by George DeWolf. And what I really like about this particular technique is that it's really a very effective and simple way to correct images. It's all about kind of making your image look better. It's the same idea as using protocols, but in this particular case we're going to streamline using protocols. Not that we're going to completely get rid of protocols, but we're going to use protocols in conjunction or combined with this new technique. There are two problems here with this technique, however. It has two concepts, and each of these concepts need to be explained, and I'm going to try to do that in the next two videos. The first little video I want to talk about is the history brush, and I want to explain to you what that really is, because you really need to understand what a history brush is, and then we're going to talk about blend modes. So to begin with, history brush. Well, let's look at what we've just done here. I've opened up an image. You can see I've got my background. I duplicated that background. That is actually recorded on my history, and these are called states. So I opened my image and then I duplicated the image. Okay, I'm not going to worry about this one down here. So what we want to do now is we're going to make some changes in this image, and we're going to make these changes onto our background layer, and we're going to make a couple of changes, and then we're going to make a white canvas area or image area, and we're going to paint in different states or history states. So for example, I know this doesn't make any sense until we actually do it, so let's do this. Here's my opening image. I duplicated it, and now with that image duplicated and on that particular layer, my background layer copy, I am going to make some changes. So image, adjust. I'm thinking about protocols here, levels. Take my slider, move it all the way over here. Make that image look a little bit more realistic. And then I'm going to do another change here, and I'm going to go and make an adjustment, and I'm going to use my saturation, and I'm just going to do something really kind of weird. I'm going to saturate this all the way so it looks completely ridiculous. And I just want to do that because I just want to show you what history states are and how the history brush actually works. Okay, so I've got my open image, I've done a levels change, I've done a saturation change, and just to kind of show you what this all is designed to do, or what the history brush is designed to do, I'm going to select everything in this image, all, and then I'm going to edit fill, and in this case I have my white in the background, so I'm going to fill everything white, and I'm just going to deselect so that everything is gone and nothing is selected. Now if I pick my history brush, which is right here, click on that, I can go to my opening image right here, click right there, and with my brush I should be able to paint in that state. Okay, so there's the state of the original opening of the image. So, you know, I'm basically just painting in that part of the image. I hope that makes sense. So I'm just sort of painting that part in. If I go to the next major change that I've done in the image, you can see that was levels here. I can paint back in here the lighter version. Okay, remember I made a levels change? So with the levels change I can go back and I can paint in those changes. So I've painted the top layer here is you know, the original, and then I've used the levels layer. And if I click in my saturation, and again the reason why I did this is so that you can really see the difference. And if I go back and forth in here, you can see that I'm actually painting in you know, what saturation is all about, or what that layer was all about. So in a kind of curious way I can make a magical kind of image. I can use and paint various different states of the image together, and you have a really interesting composition as a result of it. Now obviously we're not going to try to do something that's quite this crazy looking. However, you could if you wanted to. That's one way to use the history brush. But what we want to do is we actually want to take this image and make it look a little better than it was. Okay, so the point of this particular exercise, as you can see, is that I'm trying to show you that I can go back and forth here in the various different states, and I can paint in whatever state I decide to use. Okay, so that's my lighter. This is my opening. Okay, and this is, click on my saturation here, and whatever state I pick or select, or I can have multiple different states in here, I can just keep adding to this and changing it. Okay, so that's a really nice thing to be able to do, and that's what we call our history brush. So again, to recap what a history brush is, it basically enables you to paint in an existing state. So I could paint in the opening state, I could paint in the level state, I could paint in the saturation state, or any number of states that I've done here, or any number of changes that I've done here. And you can begin to realize how powerful this little tool is, because depending, you may have 5, 6, 8, 20 different states, and if every state is a slightly different variation of your image, you can see the possibilities of making very subtle changes or very big changes and still maintaining the integrity of the actual image. So this is the history brush, and we're going to leave the history brush right now, and we're going to move on to the blend modes, which we're going to eventually combine with the history brush.